The Cinderella of fairy tale fame wears magnificent clothes, is touched by magic, and has to be home by midnight or else. Cinderella in real life is Kimora Perkins, a 15-year-old high school student. She lives in St. Louis, but the world is her pumpkin, and she shares it with us in today's Inside Story. She's only 15 years old and is the toast of the international high fashion world. And this gorgeous 6-foot-tall model leads a double life. Part of the time, she's that real-life Cinderella who dresses up for the ball. But back home in St. Louis, Missouri, she's 10th grade student Kimora Perkins.
The gorgeous gowns, and it's easy to get wrapped up in it. But no, it didn't overtake me, because I knew I still had to take off the gown and come home and go back to school, so it was easy to keep my feet on the ground.
Kimora spends 12 weeks out of the school year away from home, working in Europe and New York for the likes of Chanel and Yves Saint Laurent. Although she won't turn 16 until next May, she's remarkably mature and says that she's able to keep her distance from the darker undersides of her seemingly glamorous profession.
People get caught up on mental and psychological trips, and they get into things like drugs and alcohol, and they're dating people to get certain places. And some people get really confused as to why they're there. There's a lot of things like that going on. Do this will make you better, this will make you prettier, this will make you feel good, and when you're stressed out, drink this will make you feel, oh God, you have to really watch out for that.
The wild and sensual nightlife of Paris might be tempting to a young teenaged girl from the heart of the American Midwest, St. Louis. But Kimora says that she's been able to steer clear of older men who can be considered model groupies.
They don't know how old I am when they approach me. I'm not a 19-year-old, 21-year-old person. And I have men that are 40 years old that want to take me out to dinner, and it's just not something that I need to be seen even in right now.
Kimora is of Korean, Japanese, and African-American descent. Her career began when she was discovered by a European modeling agent when she was 13 and flown off to France. When she's in Paris, she lives alone in her own apartment because her mother has a job and cannot travel with her. And this 15-year-old earns up to $450 an hour.
Angle one and angle two are right, angle that's right.
But when she's home in St. Louis, she's just like any other high school sophomore, except that she says some of her schoolmates don't quite understand what she does.
A lot of kids are jealous of me and they're envious of me, but it may not be because they want to do what I'm doing or something like that, or they want what I have. It's more like they don't understand what I'm doing.
Kimora was raised as an only child in a single-parent home. Her mother, Joanne Perkins, says it was hard to send her daughter off alone to Europe.
She realized how painful it was for me to let her go and how important it was for her to do well, that it was a sacrifice.
Kimora loves living in St. Louis and plans to always keep it her home. She enjoys typical teenage pursuits like shopping in malls with her friends. And just like any 15-year-old, her mom has put a limit on how late she can stay out at night.
I just got a curfew of 12 o'clock. 12, can you imagine 12? What can you do until 12? But no, I have curfews, and me and my mom were constantly arguing. I say, when I was in Paris, I can just walk out of the house and go where I wanted to. And she's like, well, you're not in Paris now, you're at home. And you better be in the house at 10 o'clock at night or 11:30 or 12, whatever time. So I definitely have curfews, and who are you going out with tonight, and what's their phone number, leave it on the table, and oh yeah, I definitely still go through that, and it's a pain, but I think it's good.